Parent-child relationship is one of the most unique bonds which builds up a strong foundation on the development of a child. This relationship also affects the child's physical, mental, and emotional development. They say the most precious jewel you will ever have around your neck are the arms of your children. Parents sacrifice everything in order to make a better living for their children so that they could achieve their goals and live a better life than them. The worst nightmare of many parents around is kids falling ill or meeting with an accident. They will do anything to recover their children from any sickness. Today, we are going to deliver you an amazing and a heart-touching story about an active little girl getting diagnosed by doctors as brain dead, and 4 years later, she wakes up and shocks everyone. So, before starting today's video, make sure you have subscribed to our channel and hit the bell icon to be notified with our latest updates. Victoria was the only girl born to the Arlen family of triplets. Her parents had her and 2 other boys, which made their family a happy family. They were born and raised in Exeter, New Hampshire. Victoria was an active and a healthy child who was very good at athletics and dancing. She was praised by her mentors for her hard work and practice as a small child. She always played with her brothers and spent a happy life with her family. One day, she had a severe stomach ache, and her parents thought it was just a normal stomach ache that kids get and gave her some pills. The pain did not turn down. Instead, both her stomach and back started to ache, so they had to take her to the hospital, where she was diagnosed with appendicitis. Later, her appendix was removed, and a few days after, she was again sent home. The pain did ease a little bit as for the hard painkillers taken, but it was not over. She did not know that her whole life was about to change into a misery. A few days later, her legs started to ache and give out, making her legs numb all the time. She could not walk easily and had to have someone helping her to move around. Within 2 weeks, she lost her ability of walking. She had taken to the hospital regularly for blood works and tests, but her sickness was not found at the beginning. After a few more days, Victoria's hands started to drag, and she lost control over her arms, where she could not even eat and drink by herself. This change in her body made her whole family, including Victoria, devastated. Days passed, and Victoria still had numb legs and arms. The worst part of her sickness appeared as she started to feel uneasy when swallowing food. She also started to miss words when speaking, and eventually she could not speak or respond to anything. Victoria was in a state of coma and did not know what was happening. Her family was shocked to see their dear little child laying on a hospital bed without any movement or contact. Victoria was diagnosed with a rare condition called contracted transverse myelitis and acute encephalomyelitis, which was an infrequent cause for acute paralysis in children affecting numbness in limbs. Victoria was diagnosed as a coma patient, and her family was said that her recovery was extremely unlikely to happen, and they should not have much hope in her. Her family was stressed so much thinking about the state of the girl, they did not let their hopes vanish that soon. Therefore, they took her home and made her a separate equipped hospital room. She was tube-fed as she could not swallow any hard things. The parents and her brother thought that she will never hear or see them again as she was in a coma state. After 2 years, she woke up mentally, and she could see and hear her family members. Her vision was not that much clear, but she could identify things and people around her. For the surprise, Victoria was not brain damaged. She instead was left in a vegetative state, where she knew everything happening around, but could not respond with her senses. She even heard doctors saying she would never wake up, which made her so sad, and also to strive hard to get well soon. It was so unlucky that she could not say her state to others. Victoria saw and heard what the people around her said. She heard her mother crying near her and her brothers saying what they did daily. They also just said the things happening around the world, the advancement in technology, and etc. Even though they thought she could not hear anything they said. But Victoria could really hear everything. All these small talks inspired her a lot, and she started to fight with herself to get better. In 2010, Victoria made her first steps in her real recovery, making a direct eye contact with her mother. She could clearly see everything around her, and she clearly identified all the family members. After almost 4 years passed, Victoria started making movements with her body. Gradually, she started to move out from her vegetative state. First, she moved her fingers slowly, and a few days later, she could wave her hand whenever someone she knew came to her room. Slowly, she mumbled words from her mouth and tried to speak. She finally made progress in speaking after making up word by word. She could respond to anything and also started to eat food she loved. She soon relearned to eat, drink, and talk by her own without any help. She ate steak for the first time in 4 years by her own, and she also held a smartphone in her hand for the first time of her life. An interesting fact is that at the time she was diagnosed with her condition, smartphones were not introduced. And at the time when smartphones became popular, her brother got one and showed her how to use it while she was still in a coma. The family was surprised to see Victoria using the smartphone as a pro, after getting better, where she had said that she could remember how her brother used it while she was in a coma. In spite of the progress she made in her state, doctors still warned that she will not live a normal life, as how she was in the beginning. But Victoria and her family did not believe them. They instead tried hard to make their opinions go in vain. Even though she made a huge progress, she still could not move her legs. The doctors said that swelling in her brain and spinal cord had permanently damaged her lower body, making her waist down paralyzed for her entire life. They met a number of doctors, and all of them said the same thing, making Victoria to adjust to a new life in a wheelchair. She found that the wheelchair was the only way she could move freely around the house by herself. She was in a positive state of her mind and believed that she will walk up by her own one day. So she made some differences in her life. She was in the junior school when she was diagnosed with unstable health conditions, and now she had to start high school education. So she started to go to school again on her wheelchair. She thought everyone might welcome her with a warm heart, but the children in the high school were so harsh on her that they bullied her for being in a wheelchair. After the first day of high school, she came back home with eyes full of tears, saying that she cannot go to school. Her parents talked with her and explained not to take those jokes seriously, and just attend the school with a positive attitude. She was a great swimmer, even though she did not practice a lot during her early days. She wished to swim freely in their pool and play with her brothers as she did when she was very well. Her brothers were so unhappy to see her like this, and when they heard Victoria's wish, they made a quick plan. They carried Victoria on their arms, ran to the swimming pool, and jumped in with her. Suddenly, she started to move and float. "It was traumatic," said Victoria. She did know a little that this little incident would make a huge impact on her future. She said, I jumped over that fear, and it changed my destiny." When she was in the pool, she discovered the true feeling of freedom, which she was longing for a long time. She thought that water might help her regain her lost abilities. She began to spend her time around the pool, and later she spent her time in the pool and started to swim somehow by moving her hands and body. She made a huge progress in swimming by getting qualified to the Paralympic Games in 2012, while she was just 17. She went to the Games, which was held in England, as a girl who lost everything and came home back with 1 gold medal and 3 silver medals. She became so popular among everyone, and the people who ignored and looked down upon her started to love and bless her. She did not let anything or anyone stop her dreams. Her next mission was to somehow stand on her own 2 feet and walk around without the help of wheelchairs and clutches. Victoria's parents found a Project Walk program where paralyzed people are helped to walk again. Victoria, with her mother, left home for this program, hoping she will start to walk soon as possible. This program was done in San Diego, 100 miles away from home, and they did not want to stay away for so long without their family. Therefore, they launched a walking project for paralyzed people in the East Coast. With the support of many people, they could start the first walk project, and with this program, Victoria could join her swimming practices too. She said, "I could achieve my goal and others in my hometown could regain the hope they needed." In 2015, her hard work paid off as she stood up without any help and walked around as she wished. Victoria took her first steps after 10 years, and she was happy as a clam. "I didn't do this alone. I'm so grateful for everyone who helped me to this point," said Victoria. A few years later, she was known worldwide as one of the best inspirational characters who built themselves up after many hardships. She became a public speaker who traveled around the States to tell her story and encourage people to never give up. She not only started to swim, she also started her passionate dancing skills, and in 2017 she competed as a celebrity contestant in the 25th season of Dancing with the Stars, where she showed her unbeatable skills and winning personality. So in the end, what we can learn from Victoria's life is that no matter what life throws at us, we should learn how to conquer all the hardships and regain our positive attitude. We should not lose hope until our last breath. So that's the end of today's video, and hope you enjoyed this amazing story. Make sure you've subscribed to our channel and hit the bell icon to be notified with our latest updates. See you in our next video.